So array lists and linked lists could be thought of as pretty similar, but they do have differences in terms of efficiency when you're actually trying to remove elements. So this is what I mean. If you have an array list, it's going to be a list like this, and you could put in different values like 1, 7, 6, 8, and let's have this divided. And if you're trying to remove something, then you could just go to that element and take it out. So let's say you're trying to take out 6 right over here, but then everything that is after 6 has to replace its spot. So once 6 is removed, 8 has to go here. And as you can see with smaller lists, this is fine, but if this size was very large, like 1,000,000 or even 100,000 or something like that, all those values would have to go back to this position, and so this would go here, the other one would go here, and it would just keep going on like that. In the case of a linked list, it's like having these small connections, like one here, and just let's say we have a few like this, and let's say this holds 8, this holds 9, this holds 7, and let's say we want to remove this element. So all of these are just connected, but when you remove this, the only thing a linked list has to go through is essentially just changing this connection point, so also just removing that and putting this right over here. That's all it has to do, while an array list has to actually manually put all the values that are to this value's right to its left, which would take more time. So if you're dealing with a situation where you need to be more efficient with in terms of your program time, you should use a linked list if you're trying to actually remove values. But in terms of the actual declaration of the linked list, it's very similar to an array list. So after you've imported and have something like this, then you could just add values. So it would be like this, and let's say hello, and we could just add random values. And to remove, you just use the remove function, and it would just be displayed the same. So if we run this, we're going to just have it in the order, the exact order that we declared it in, and if we remove value, it's going to remove it from the first thing we actually put in. So if I do this, oops, then we're gonna only have these 3 values, and if I just keep pasting, if I keep doing this, then it's going to remove this value from the top also, and now we only have these 2 values, and this would remove a specific index. So in this case, I've chosen this third index, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3. And if I want to clear all of these, I could just use this. Then it's empty. Okay, so I have made a simulation just to show in which case a linked list would be better compared to an array list. So for the people that think that these two are similar, they are, in the sense that they both are lists and you could add values and remove values to them, and they're declared and similarly, and they have similar functions that you could use, methods you could use here. But in terms of efficiency, if you have something like, if you're removing the first element, the first index of a linked list versus an array list, this example just shows you perfectly the time difference that you would get. So I have a large number right here, and I'm removing the first element from a linked list and the first element from an array list, and this just shows how long it would take for both. So ideally this should just be quick, but since we have a large data set, all of these values, this array list will take much longer, and this linked list will take much shorter. So if we run this, I've actually you can see firstly right over here the amount of time it takes, and I've used this to show that. I've subtracted the end time with the start time right here, and you can see for an array list it takes this amount of time, and for a linked list it takes this amount of time. So it's very obvious for large data sets, if you're removing values that are closer to the beginning, it's just much more efficient to use a linked list. But that's pretty much for today's video. It's just a basic overview of a linked list and kind of showing the difference between linked list and an array list, because that was definitely something that I was confused about, and I kind of used them interchangeably, but there are definitely benefits to using linked lists at time. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you.